Listen to me. If there was a wise man who would ever think of this, they would say in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. For I am the man himself.
Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Happy Saturday night to all of you. This is the Club of the Man 1993, and this is my review of last night's episode of Friday Night SmackDown, the June 13th, 2025 edition of SmackDown. It took place in Lexington, Kentucky. It was the Fallout episode of SmackDown from Money in the Bank. We are continuing on with the King and Queen of the Ring tournament, which they actually did all of the first round matches on SmackDown this week for the SmackDown stars. Raw only did 2. Raw is going to finish on Monday, and I guess the semifinals are going to take place, I think, next Friday on SmackDown. I think all of them will be next Friday on SmackDown right here. Unless they save 2 for the following episode of Raw. Because I'm pretty sure they're not going to do them for the go-home episode of SmackDown before Night of Champions. Because solely of the fact that they, that episode, I think, is that episode taped? I can't remember if that episode is taped or if that episode of SmackDown is going to be in Saudi. I can't remember which, because I know sometimes they do have the SmackDown the night over for the overseas show. They'll sometimes do like the SmackDown night before or the Raw after or whatnot. I don't know what the plan is, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have the card set by the day before Night of Champions. On June 28th. That is 2 weeks away from today. I am already working on my Night of Champions card as well. I'm hoping to maybe get that done tonight as well. We'll see. I may upload the SmackDown review and then do the Night of Champions card after that. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm in the works for that as for sure tonight. But overall, to be honest, I don't have a ton really to say about SmackDown. For being a 3-hour show, there was only like 8-ish like segments or like, you know, storylines or something that like however you want to put it that happened. Well, I should say 8-ish because 4 of the matches were King of the Ring matches, and then just a couple of promos in there. So there wasn't a ton that happened, and I actually felt very well timed out and very well spaced out as well too. One of the few 3-hour editions of SmackDown that didn't really drag too much. I wouldn't say it was perfect, but it was setting up for things that I'm looking forward to seeing for the most part. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about it. I'll probably just talk about the opening promo and then probably just go through the winners of the King and Queen of the Ring matches to save time. And kind of do one of those reviews where it's like not everything is in quite a particular order. It's just, you know, this, and that, and whatnot. So the show opened up with John Cena coming out, and he mentions that the Mount Rushmore of pro wrestling is John Cena, John Cena, John Cena, and John Cena. There have been great wrestlers, great talkers, but no one in the past, present, or probably even the future compared to him. And the reason he'll always outmaneuver you isn't because he never gives up, but because he's smarter than you. Whether you're his opponent or watching at home or mesmerized by him in this very arena, he's always 1,000 steps ahead because you're worried about right now. He saw this moment a year ago. He announced his retirement early and scouted his opponents. charted a path to the Rumble with the Chamber as a backup. He knew CM Punk and Seth Rollins would take themselves out, and Cody was fixated on the final boss. He also used Logan Paul to buy himself some time to scout CM Punk and back him into a corner where now, if he really wants to take the title, he has to admit to himself that he's a hypocrite. He doesn't have to worry about Seth Rollins as Mr. Money in the Bank because Seth's never going to cash in on him. Seth wants him to leave with the title so that when he cashes in, he'll be the only champion. And Cena claims he's the greatest of all time. For a reason, and we're wasting time worrying about whether or not he sold his soul while he just arranges the map in his favor and wins the matches before they start. Thank goodness he doesn't need our appreciation, because we won't realize how good he is until 3 years after he's gone. And the crowd means nothing to him, just a mathematical equation that says no one will ever be worthy to hold the title ever again. And then we had 3 people come out after this. And honestly, the 3 that came out, I'm like, this honestly, if they really wanted to, wouldn't be a bad fatal 4-way for the title. The first one was Cody Rhodes, who comes out and says, "You're not smart, but a genius. But it's unfortunate because you mentioned, of course you mentioned about, a Mount Rushmore. You also mentioned how about Punk and Seth, not being not being able to get along, and that cancels them out as well. And about how him and Randy and Logan, Mount Rushmore, absolutely sure. But why isn't Cody involved in his plan? Because Casey forgot, Cody pinned him at Money in the Bank, which then brings out Randy Orton. And this is the first time Randy Orton's been seen since he lost to Cena at Backlash. And he comes out and he is totally pissed. And he mentions that everybody saw that Orton had Cena beat at Backlash. To be 100% honest, Orton had Cena beat probably like 15 times in that match. I'm not even joking. And he was about to remove his head from his shoulders until somebody decided to come and save the day. And he realizes now he has to do whatever it takes, and it doesn't matter who he has to go through to get to number 15. Even if that means King of the Ring, and even if he has to put Cody Rhodes' ass down as well. Which I like the character transition, because obviously Orton should be getting frustrated at this point. Especially because I really think, based off of how some things have been storied out in the recent months this year, I really think, especially after what happened at Backlash, I do think they're going to have a match with Randy Orton and Nick Aldis at SummerSlam. I think that is going to be the case. But then it comes out L.A. Knight, yeah, who's with Orton in the first of the Fatal 4-Way matches. He basically comes out and just says, the crowd's saying they want me, so, don't overlook me. And he will get to John Cena, and he will win King of the Ring. And then, of course, Cena decides he's had enough of this and just walks off. But then, as he's walking up, here comes R-Truth coming out, or Ron Killings, coming out and beat up John Cena on the stage. He beat him up pretty darn good, too. And then, of course, they do break it up. And we do see, but we don't hear the audio of Cena just going off on Nick Aldis backstage. He is pissed. And also, that was not the last we saw of Mr. Cena on the show. So we'll get back to him in a second. I'll talk about the King and Queen of the Ring qualifiers really quick. So, the first match they had for the men, probably my favorite of the 4, was this Fatal 4-Way match between Randy Orton, LA Knight, Aleister Black, and Carmelo Hayes. I think I really like this match because, again, I do like that they have been... Well, first off, they are still... Carmelo Hayes' rise to the main event scene. You know it's coming. You know they want to put him in that spot. I do like that they're still trying to give him screen time with veterans like Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes. Then you have Aleister Black, which is obvious he's already been used so much better than he was in AEW. They're making us like feel like, you know, he's someone you have to keep your eyes on. And I do 100% agree. Teasing like matches, like especially when they had with him and Randy. That's been a match I've probably wanted since Aleister first came to the main roster. Sorry, go to the 2019, I think it was. I was mentioning that was a dream match of mine. Randy Orton versus Aleister Black. I think that would be an awesome feud to do. I hope they do it. And LA Knight as well, who, again, despite the fact that he's the guy right now that I'm pretty sure on any other day they would put the title on him. Heck, I'll be honest, if they wanted him to be the one to dethrone John Cena, I'm for that option as well. But there just isn't quite room at the head of the table right now for him, but he's still maintaining his momentum somehow. But yeah, the four of these men put on an excellent performance in the match. Eventually though, LA Knight gets taken out of the match though, because as he's about to hit an elbow from the top rope, out comes Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker to take him out for revenge for getting involved in the match on Raw that costed Braun Breaker his spot. Because there's rumors that they're probably going to do they're going to do a feud with Seth Rollins and LA Knight. A little odd because they're both on separate brands, but, you know, I'm not opposed to it if they do these occasional crossover feuds. Not, of course, a lot at once, of course. Don't go freaking wild card rule on us. But yeah, it does interest me. And I'm sure it's probably going to be a match for Saturday night's main event. Because Seth is probably going to either face Roman or Punk at SummerSlam. Kind of leaning towards Roman, if I'm being honest. But could change. We'll see. So Randy Orton wins that one. He is going to be fighting Sami Zayn next week. Which, again, I still find it odd that they're doing Raw versus SmackDown in the semifinals. Why not do just, you know, the Raw versus Raw star and the SmackDown versus SmackDown star? Because honestly, we could get Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. And then, of course, my predicted final for the King of the Ring is Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes. I mean, I think it's probably either be that, or with how it's structured now, it could very well be Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. But yeah, I am interested to see, of course, this character like shift where Orton, he's still a babyface, but he's definitely more so like, I'm done playing nice, but he's not a full-on villain right now. But yeah, so Randy Orton wins that one. In the second match, I believe, when we get to that one, yeah, the second match was Jade Cargill, Mia Yim, Nia Jax, and Piper Niven. Yeah, the match wasn't too bad. Again, this definitely not as strong as the first of the qualifying matches. Jade Cargill won that one as expected. She pinned Piper Niven by hitting her with Jaded. And then we also had the second one for the women. So it was apparently it was supposed to be Chelsea Green versus Alexa Bliss versus Candice LeRae versus Charlotte Flair. But Chelsea Green was having some travel issues, supposedly. You know, she was on FaceTime on vacation. And Nick Aldis canceled her in the match and had Alba Fire replace her. Honestly, when that happened, I was kind of hoping Alba would pull off the upset for sure. Because I do hate that they're treating her like the weakest link of the whole group. But she didn't. Alexa Bliss won, but it was a very weird way how they had Charlotte putting, I think it was Alba in the figure eight. But while that's going on, Alexa hits the Sister Abigail on Candice. And they count her three count right before Alba Fire starts tapping out the Charlotte's finisher. Which, you know, was an awkward finish for sure, but I do like how they are continuing to continuing this thing where Alexa Bliss is trying to get into Charlotte's head, and, you know, because they're obviously trying to go a different route with Charlotte, since obviously she got heavily rejected when she came back. which I appreciate that they're doing that. They're, again, like, that's what I've been saying that Charlotte Flair's been missing, is she needs some sort of non-title feud to get fans to stop, like, you know, hating on her so much. But Alexa Bliss does win. She's going to be going on to fight the winner of the match on Raw with, I believe it's Asuka, Stephanie Vaquer, Ivy Nile, I think, and I can't remember who was all in that one for the women. But it was that one. And then Larry had the main event, which was Andrade, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, Shinsuke Nakamura. You knew Cody was winning this. He won with a pinfall on Shinsuke. And I'm still surprised he's not released Nakamura. So Cody Rhodes is going to be going to the semifinals, where he is going to be taking on the other Fatal 4-Way from Raw. That's the one that does have the mystery opponent, but they've already revealed that it's going to be Jey Uso, which I don't like, because again, I still don't think they should have taken the belt off of Jey. I still, disagree with it, especially after I heard that Triple H made the call to do so because he wants the match with Gunther and Goldberg at Saturday Night's Main Event next month to be for the title, which I think is the absolute wrong way to go. I feel like if you wanted to get fans invested in his retirement match, then you shouldn't have made it for the title, because this is all he's done since 2019 or whenever it is. That's all he's doing, is just fighting for a championship, and he's losing. So to me, I have zero interest now in that match. And again, I'm sorry, that's an L right there for Triple H. That was not the best call to go with. You could have done Gunther and Goldberg without the title. I would have been much more interested, if I'm being honest. He didn't have to, take the belt off Jey like he did. But just wanted to throw that out there. So it'll probably be Cody versus Jey in the semifinal match, which will be interesting. And I think it will be Cody versus Sammy in the finals. I mean, either one of those four could win, but to mix it up a little bit, I feel like the obvious choice should be Cody and Sammy for the finals. That probably be. I'm mostly saying that Randy Orton and Cody would be way too obvious that it's going to be Cody, because I doubt they're going to do Cena versus Orton 1-on-1 again. But who knows? But yeah, those are the winners of the King of the Ring matches. I just kind of breezed through them really quick there. Other things that happened on the show: Jacob Fatu addressed the crowd. I'm still going to wait another week until I do a turn alert on him, because I'm pretty sure he is a face, but I have that slight inkling that still makes me feel like he still could leave the group and still be heels. But based off of what everybody's predicting to happen next week, but basically he came out there and he basically said that you can't go behind his back and try to snake him, and you can't take credit for your own hard work. Solo thinks that that Jacob would be nothing without him, and that's exactly why he reminded Solo what happens when you don't get in where you fit in, and now it's just him against the world. And Solo appeared on there, and he said he was doing nothing but being nothing before he brought him in. So next week I'm going to give you one more chance. Next week, in the middle of the ring, with open arms, he'll take him back, but he has to tell Solo that he loves him. And always have to remember, he brought him in, he can take him out. Which basically saying, because, Jacob Fatu, with his history, outside of wrestling and whatnot in his personal life, that he's probably meant going with there. He's trying to hold that power over him, which I think is interesting for sure to see. And again, I gotta mention this about Solo. I appreciate that. I still feel like, despite the fact that he hasn't backed up his momentum in the ring, his momentum in the ring has been awful the past year. But he has done some very excellent character work that I just wish that they would transition it over to the ring. I do think he will have a good feud with Jacob. I'm predicting because this person already mentioned challenging him, I think we're going to get a triple threat at Night of Champions with Damian Priest, Jacob Fatu, and Sol Sikoa. And we'll save the one-on-one match with Jacob and Solo for SummerSlam. But we'll see where that goes. Again, that interested me for sure. I definitely liked what I saw there. Zelina Vega also wants a shot against Julia, but Alice says she's not here, and then Vega says she'll be waiting for her in the ring next week. After that, we had the women's qualifying matches. Naomi had an excellent promo, basically laying out her plans as Miss Money in the Bank. She mentioned that while she spent her entire time trying to beat Nia for the title last year, Tiffany Stratton was the one trying to distract her and get in her head. So now Naomi has what Tiffany had a year ago, and now it's time for payback. And she's going to cash in on her when she least expects it. Well, then Tiffany comes out, and she tells how Naomi talks a big game, so why isn't she cashing in right now? And she calls Naomi all talk, no action. And Naomi says if she looks stupid, she's not cashing in now. She's cashing in when she least expects it. But she's going to enjoy, though, making Stratton's life a living hell during this time. And also, while that's going on, the crowd's chanting, what? And basically, Naomi tells him to shut up. But when she goes to leave, Nia attacks Tiffany from behind. Are we doing this match again? I'm sorry. The couple matches they have, they're fine, but I don't need to see it again. But anyways, Nia did beat Tiffany down, and Naomi did tease a cash-in, but then Nia was like, you ain't doing this. You ain't doing this. I'm the one taking the title off her, not you. So that got held back there. Motor City Machine Guns were given the opportunity to take on the Wyatt Six. They fought Dexter Lumis and Joe Gacy, and they lost to the Wyatt Six. I guess that means when they do the tag match, at some point I'm predicting maybe Night of Champions, could maybe not be. Wyatt Six will fight for those tag titles. I guess that means they'll have Gacy and Lumis be the ones to fight for the titles. They could go with either Rowan or Howdy as well. Who knows? But yeah, Motor City Machine Guns ate a pinfall. John Cena was searching for R-Truth backstage. He even asked Jimmy Uso, where is he? And Jimmy says he hasn't seen Truth, but Cena asks if he's seen Ron Killings, which he says no, but John says he knows they're close, and to tell him if he's to see him in the ring. John storms back out to the ring, and he's tired of the disrespect, and R-Truth has crossed some lines, so he wants Truth to come out here right now. He didn't come out, though, and instead, his Night of Champions opponent did, CM Punk. He comes out and asks if John has just said something about disrespect. He's tired of being disrespected. These people are tired of being disrespected, but now Punk has a microphone, as we have yet to begin to reach the levels of disrespect possible. But for old time's sake, he's going to give Cena a chance. Give him the benefit of the doubt, maybe his two Obi-Wan Kenobi talking to Darth Vader, and hoping that Skywalker is still in there somewhere. He gives him a chance to stop what he's doing. Let the people celebrate who and what they are, celebrate what he is and the sacrifices he's made for the business, and give them a happy ending. But Cena's like, well, why would I waste my time when these people, this place, basketball, and horse racing do not matter? The title is the only thing that matters. So he's going to eat crow to the same idiots wearing t-shirts and singing CM Punk's song. And then Punk says, record should state that he gave John an out, but now they'll do it his way. And let the disrespect begin. Ironically, John's way is the CM Punk way. When Cult of Personality hits, everybody knows it's about to get real. And ladies and gentlemen, that's about to be the case. There's an old saying that you have to tell a strong man a lie, you offend him. And if you tell a weak man the truth, that offends him. And here's the truth, John. And then We Want Truth starts chanting, and Punk pauses, and John can't beat him. And now he says he's going to ruin wrestling so CM Punk will take it on himself to save it. And what was the other thing about sociopathic confidence? Punk takes that as a compliment. Because it's that confidence that took him to the top guy when guys like Cena said he'd never make it. And he's not going to take this from a man dressed like a toddler, dressed like he struck out at a t-ball game, which got a good reaction there. Also, by the way, I mentioned the other day how I do want to get some John Cena attire, the hat, the shirt, and the towel all matching. Definitely the one he wore this week wasn't the hugest fan of, if I'm being honest. That's definitely not going to be an option. Just wanted to throw that out there. Then Punk asks that one to be stricken from the record because it makes him sound like little PG John Cena. Which is ironic because talking about ruining wrestling and taking the strap and leave makes him sound like CM Punk. He's stealing this best material. You think challenging him at Night of Champions is going to stop him? No, it's just like old times. Punk coming here to make Cena's retirement tour watchable. Fuel up the private jet, and he'll follow him to Mars to beat his ass. And he'll follow him to hell to prove that he's better than him. And here's the truth. Cena's a goat, but so is Punk. And he's beating him in Boston. He's beating him in Chicago. And he's going to split roast him and sacrifice him to the gods of wrestling. To guys like Terry Funk, Harley Race, Bret Hart, Eddie Guerrero, Punk scoffs at the audacity to put himself on Mount Rushmore. Not even 4 times, but just once. He's a joke. You can't see me? Punk sees through him, and he always has. And that's the truth. And as he says that, we get Ron Killings, again, attacking Cena out of nowhere, but then he chokes him out in the STF until security passes him away. And I think Punk even look back over while he's getting choked out and goes, and that's the truth. So, again, this is one of those feuds that, like, because sometimes I mentioned there's some, like, nostalgia that gets overplayed, and it's just like, this is whatever. But this, probably because this is a big match that we never thought we'd get again, the nostalgia's really working. Again, I do like that, especially, I really personally enjoy it. Like, if there's a time that I feel like I would have really gotten hooked on wrestling, if not in 2013, it would have been during the summer of Punk. I watched a ton of highlights from that storyline. Well, that even like when I first started watching old stuff that I discovered was on the internet, that's probably some of the stuff I watched the most. So I am enjoying that. And Truth then mentions to Aldis that, he wants a match with Cena. And we're actually getting John Cena versus R-Truth on Raw next week, 1-on-1. No title involved, of course, but yeah, surprised that that Cena's actually wrestling on free TV. Which is surprising, but I understand. And I think that's it. Other than the fact that right before Cody Rhodes came out for his match, he ran into Punk backstage and he says, "We can't keep running away from each other forever." He knows, and they say they know. So someday, like, we're gonna fight someday. Like, yeah, I know. So yeah, that is coming. When that'll be, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure that will be a match that does happen before CM Punk finishes up. And yeah, I already talked about the King and Queen of the Ring matches. And that's that. I'm back and forth. I'm leaning towards either a B or a B plus for this show. Because I thought most of the stuff was like, it did what it needed to, and then some was like, oh, I got a little bit more than I thought. If I could give it a grade, like a specific one, I'm kind of leaning towards like a low B plus. Like, it right on the border between B and B plus. But I like the pacing. I like what this did set up. And I like what, I don't know. It was a show that I feel like I've enjoyed more than recent SmackDowns. And it wasn't just this did its job, this did its job. It was like, oh, this was great, and I actually enjoyed this a little more than I thought I would. So yeah, I'll stick with giving this show a B+. B+ for SmackDown this week. What are your guys' thoughts on SmackDown? Leave us from this week's episode. Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. Slap a like on the video and subscribe for more content to come on my channel. Follow me on Twitter as well at the Club of the Man 93 and on TikTok and Instagram at the Club of the Man 1993. And until then, guys, I'm checking out and I'll catch you all later. Have a great rest of your night. And do not forget, in order to be superior to the man, you've got to be the man. And for I am the man himself. And that is not just an opinion, my friends. That is a fact of life. Yeah!